Welcome back to another episode of Bottled Up. I'm Andrew Allen, and today's guest is the incredible Lisa Engel, the Director of Sponsorship and Marketing for Classic Company, a leader in the world of equestrian show jumping events from Mississippi to South Carolina. Lisa's story takes us from her childhood on a New Jersey farm, where she was the eldest of 7, learned the value of hard work, and survived an evil pony, all the way to her pivotal role connecting top sponsors, riders, and communities in the horse show world. If you've ever wondered what it takes to organize a major sporting event, or how someone turns their lifelong passion into a thriving career, you'll want to stick around. During our conversation, Lisa shares insider tips about Gulfport's Gulf Coast Classic and how the event has become a must-see for families and fans. Plus, you'll learn why show jumping is one of the most exciting spectator sports you might not have discovered yet. Let's jump in. Lisa, thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, Lisa, you have a very interesting job, and we've kind of known each other for a couple of years now. And I like to try to get into a little bit of your history of how you've gotten into the marketing and kind of sponsorship section of what you do. But for the listener, explain kind of what Classic Company is and what it is that you do.
Classic Company is produces show jumping events. It's in the equestrian sport market from Mississippi up to South Carolina. It's been around since the Classic Company started, actually. Just to clarify, Classic Company and the Gulf Coast Classic Company are two different companies.
Okay.
But they are, we'll call them sister companies. The Classic Company was founded in 1989.
Okay.
The Gulf Coast Classic Company, which is the Gulfport events we have down there, that was founded in 1998.
Got it.
To give you an idea. They produce show jumping events. Show jumping encompasses everything. It's an English style of riding. I'm going to try to speak more mainstream so people who are not horse people understand what this is.
Yeah. Speak a little more layman's terms of.
When you watch horses, there's different ways to watch horses. You can watch them at the racetrack, which everybody understands. You can watch the cowboys and the Western events. You can watch the dressage events. There's no jumps with that. It's kind of orchestrated movements to music with horse and rider. Pretty cool. And ours is show jumping. So we are the events where they're jumping over fences. It's pretty easy to follow because if they knock a rail, and the jumpers, they have points, which are a negative thing, jump faults, we call them, associated. Whoever goes the fastest and with no faults wins. It's pretty easy to follow.
Yes.
And depending on the prize money offered, the complexity of the course and the difficulty increases in relation to the prize money offered. So you're going to see some top talent at the higher numbers, but you'll see top talent the whole time. But for sure, it's much more challenging when you get up to the big 5 and 6 figure events. And we also have the hunters, which is more subjective. If you think of figure skating, for instance, and there's required moves, etc. When you're watching, not that I do figure skating, but I enjoy watching it, especially during the Olympics right now.
Same here.
Yeah, so there's stylistic points, and the judges judge based on those items, but there's some basic, things they have to do as far as lead changes, change direction, courses, etc., which starts getting into too much equispeak, we'll say. But that's a way to look at it. But very beautiful, and we take all levels of riders. So we're talking from the 2-year-old doing the lead line class all the way to an experienced Grand Prix rider or even Olympic riders. They'll be at the horse show. We've got them all. So it really it's a big part of the riding population. And the equestrian events down in Gulfport, they run for 6 weeks, and we've got full families down there on the circuit.
Yeah, they basically moved down here for 6 weeks.
Yes, they do.
Lisa, were you always involved with horses? How did you find yourself into this business?
It's been a long, strange trip.
Did you grow up riding?
I did. I grew up, I'm one of 7 children. I'm the eldest of 7.
Where'd you grow up, Lisa?
In New Jersey. I was born in New York City, but then that was short lived. I immediately was raised in New Jersey along with all my siblings. And my parents, who were not horse people, they are not farm people. My mom is from Palm Beach, Florida, and my dad was from Dallas.
Okay.
And outside of a dog, I think that was the only pet they had. But they had this dream about having a farmette. So we had a little farmette, and we had sheep and horses and goats and ducks and geese and rabbits and chickens and turkeys and all of it, right? And
I bet you that was
pigs.
a fun childhood growing up.
It was busy. It taught us hard work. It taught us, we didn't eat until the animals ate, and taking care of animals. And, we didn't have any help per se. It was just, we had 7 kids, so we did all the work.
That's right.
And that's how we grew up. And it was really nice. And back then there wasn't a lot outside of I'm sure like any other small town, you've got the roller rink and putt-putt golf, and that's about it. And one movie theater that was like 20 miles away, so nobody wanted to drive us there. So
Hmm.
we rode horses. We would come home from school and saddle up and leave and go on trail rides until it was dark. And then we started then we, I got into, we all got into it because actually my father always said, the hottest place in, where was reserved for the man who gave us a free pony. We were given a free pony when I was little. And the reason it was free, it was unbroke. That means when you get on
Yes.
it, it's never had a saddle on it
Right.
before.
Yep.
So my dad would come home from work and we'd line up to get on the pony for the pony rides. And keep in mind, my parents don't know what they're doing either. And this pony would just toss each one of us systematically. So it got to the point where dad would come home, we'd all start crying because we had to ride the pony.
Yeah, he's like, all right, you 7 kids are gonna help me break this thing.
Yeah, it was the evil pony. So my mom said, we must be doing something wrong. They need riding lessons. And that's what started it. So we started taking riding lessons, which turned into, this obviously is an unbroke pony. We need to get a different pony. And then turned into, we need more ponies and then more horses. And then my dad had to build a barn. And then we had to clear a spot for a pasture. And I mean, all of it. He spent all of his free time doing that. And then when we started horse showing, he would spend every weekend driving us to horse shows, which was not his favorite thing. So anyway, I remember first day I got my driver's license, there were directions written on the breakfast table with $20 for gas and a note that said, good luck. And I learned how to drive the horse trailer that day. So
He was free. That was his last. He was done.
he said, I am done. Good luck.
How many of your siblings were involved in the riding?
All of us.
Really? So did y'all have 7 horses at least?
Yeah, between horses and ponies, yes, we did. And then as time went on, I stuck with it. My sister and my one brother married a horse trainer. So we're all 3 of us are still, and my one brother had horses up until recently. So yeah, I would say half of us stuck with horses and the other half took a different route. They got into football or art or music or something like that. So, but 50% of the family, yeah, we're still into horses. And to this day, the family farm still exists and it's a big operation. And my sister runs that and up here in New Jersey. So yes, we are
Well,
still involved with horses.
Lisa, let me ask you a question. Do you have one particular, since you've been doing this pretty much your whole life, do you have one particular horse that is considered like your favorite that you'll always remember that as being like that's the one that, your lifelong horse?
There were so many and there were different parts of my life, there were different ones. So I would say the first horse, which was an interesting horse, was an old police horse from New York City. So he was, with the mounted police and he was retired out and his name was Gabriel. And I don't know how we came across Gabriel, but Gabriel had this condition. I guess it's similar to COPD, but he had what we call heaves. So he was allergic to everything and he breathed really heavily.
Got
It
it.
was very labored for him. But as a result, he was really safe because he really didn't take off and he really didn't buck because the poor horse had
Yeah,
issues breathing.
yeah, it's almost like you needed to hit him with like a
He-
little asthma inhaler.
Yeah, he needed an inhaler or something. But
Yeah.
he was amazing because he was just so easygoing and sweet. And I mean, you could just hop on him, like standing on, like on the fence line, just hop on him bareback and just walk him around. And he loved running around the fields and just, I've trail ride him from the moment the sun came up until it was dark out. I never competed with him, but as far as just developing a real love of riding and trails and going out and exploring and finding different paths, following deer paths, power lines, he was a very special horse, and he was much older, but I think that really was the impetus to really blooming this true love of horses. And then different horses over the years, fulfilled different needs. And there was definitely bonding moments with each one of those. But that was the first horse that really, I would say, got me into it, because that first pony was just evil, and I could have gone the other way.
What kind of events did you compete in? Were you doing kind of what you guys are representing now? Were you doing show jumping, or what kind of events were you working?
When I first started out, I was doing eventing, which is 3-day eventing. There's a dressage component, stadium jumping, and cross country. And the horse I had at that time was, we'll call it very spooky. Spooky meaning it's afraid of everything,
Yes.
which then made me afraid of everything. Suddenly I'm afraid of a paper bag on the grass. so, so, but on the cross country course, there's these random jumps along the course, and this was low level eventing. But for instance, there was a canoe. That was one of the jumps. So you have to jump over a canoe, galloping through the woods. And anyway, I hit the canoe several times, pretty hard, because my horse was refusing. And my horse was afraid of a paper bag. This was not working too well. So I started with that, and then thought, well, might be safer to go into show jumping because those jumps come down. Um,
Yes.
so if I hit them, no harm, no foul. So that's what I did. I made that transition when I would say I was 10 or 11, and maybe earlier. And then I stuck with that right up through until I went to college. So I competed consistently all through high school. And in college, I would come back and I had riding jobs. So I would exercise horses, to make money for school. And yeah, that's what I did.
So you were basically you solidified that it's just going to be show jumping, and that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I love it all. I mean, I've worked all sorts of events, all sorts of every equestrian event there is, for the most part. I think I've worked every single event, but that I understand it because I competed and I was part of that, and I still am part of that fabric.
Yeah, you definitely you kind of have a leg up on somebody that's just been hired off the street. That's like, hey, I have marketing experience. It's like, well, do you understand like how all this works? So like you know it from both sides.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've done every single job at a horse show. I've worked, I've been the competitor, I've been the owner, I've been a trainer, I've been the barn owner, I've been the show producer, I've worked the secretary desk, the in gate, designed the courses, and flipped the hot dogs. I've kind of done and cleaned the stalls. I've done every single job there is to do at a show jumping event.
Sounds like
So.
me in the soft drink business.
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, you have to wear many hats in order to be successful in anything you do, I believe. But with show jumping, yes.
Well, there's no disconnects, Lisa. Like
No.
you can you know what everyone's if you know what everyone's job is and you know how that job is going to go from A to B, and then you know from beginning to end how this event's going to go. There's no surprises. You know where to go. You know who to talk to. You know what needs to happen, and that's a big advantage to somebody in your position who doesn't know that.
I would agree. And I think that's what, I mean, I've had other careers in my life, but I think that's what really has contributed to my staying power in this industry, because I've been doing this for over 20 years. But I can honestly say, for people who don't know horses, they don't need to go to school or learn about it in order to be part of this event, because had every single role in my capacity, whether I'm handling vendors or I'm handling PR or sponsors or whoever. I know the audience they need to reach. I know the audience the event needs to reach, and I'm a good connect between all of it because I've done all the positions in the horse show world, and I understand corporate America, tourism, and that end of it as well.
Exactly. So you obviously you've been involved with equestrian sports and horses since you were a child. So how has it been a staple in your life, and what other careers have you had before you started working for Classic Company?
Well, we're going way back. I went to college in Washington, D.C. and had, with the exception of some occasional summer jobs up in New Jersey riding, or, we still had horses at the farm. So there was no day off from when you come home, you got to help feed the horses or clean the stalls or do turnout or whatever it is, or hold the horses for the blacksmith or whatever. Um, I really wasn't riding competitively at all. I would do fun trail rides when I came home. I actually sold my horse my senior year of high school to finance my first year of college.
Got it.
So that was my nice show horse, and we parted company for that reason. And so I really had no horse except what was around at the farm at home. Then after college, I got a job at actually an insurance company in New Jersey. So I moved from DC to New Jersey again, and I worked in their labor relations department. And back then, all the insurance agents were unionized. Um,
Okay.
Believe it or not, under the UFCW. So I had to I was working on marketing plans that were within the confines of collective bargaining agreements, et cetera. Boring kind of talk, but
You
that's
had
what I
guard. Yeah,
did.
you had. It seems like you'd have a lot of guardrails.
Yeah, so I did that, and like my focus was on Michigan, for instance, like Detroit area. That's where that was my territory. Then I got transferred from there to Chicago, and I worked up there directly with the marketing office in Chicago. When I was there, I went to graduate school at night because they had this awesome program back then. They would pay for 99% of your graduate degree, but you had to go at night.
Oh
So,
wow. Well,
so
that
I did
actually kind of
that.
works if you're working.
Yeah, and I was working, and but I was living downtown Chicago, and I would finish my job, then walk to Loyola and go to classes at night, and then take the bus home, and that's what I did. So I wasn't a big fan of corporate America, to tell you the truth. And then when they moved their office out to the suburbs, I had to get a car and drive out there and be in traffic. I really didn't like it. So I finished up my degree, and simultaneously, they had a program. If you were with the company for at least 6 years or something, you could get a severance and leave. And I thought, wow, I have 7 years. I'm leaving. So I left. And that was I would say that was the split in the road, right? That was right in front of me. I'm like, okay, I could stick with this. I can easily get another job in labor relations or contract negotiations. But I think what I want to do is try something else. So I went home and got my saddle and my riding boots, and I went to a barn in downtown Chicago, which is an old armory actually, and asked if they needed an instructor. So they said, "Well, let's see your ride." So I rode about 9 horses that day and could hardly walk for 2 days
I
afterwards.
can imagine it had been a while.
It'd been a while. And I thought, oh my gosh, they said, "Hey, you're good. We'll take you." So then I became a trainer there. And in the meantime, I was still interviewing for other jobs, and I did get some offers, and I decided, no, I just don't want to do that life anymore. I want to do this. So I started teaching horseback riding and riding horses, and then went on to other barns in the Chicago area, and got married when I was up there. And my husband, who was from Minnesota, he got transferred back to New Jersey. So
All roads
we
lead back to Jersey,
I
Lisa.
know, and I'm back on the family farm because his job wasn't far from here. So that's where we ended up, and we built the entire. It was a different farm at this point. My parents moved over to my grandparents' farm, which is over 100 acres. So we moved over there and built our own equestrian facility there. So now I've actually now added that to the list. I've GC'd and built an entire equestrian facility by myself, and in the meantime had 4 kids and kept doing that. And because I had a marketing background and went to grad school and knew that, wow, I'm back in Hunterdon County, New Jersey, which is where all your top trainers are in the
Hmm.
world are here.
I didn't
How do
know
I
that.
Yeah, because the United States equestrian team used to be based out of New Jersey.
Got it.
So all the big time trainers are here. So because they all had to train with the team. So they're up and down. I see them at the local convenience store. So how do I differentiate myself from them? Because I don't have any Olympic golds. So I put my marketing plans together and created my own program. And then I started running my own horse shows. And then I obtained sponsorships for my own shows. And I wrote articles for my events, highlighted sponsors, and I had top sponsors at my horse shows in New Jersey up against all these big guys. And then I was picked up. There was an opening with a horse show company called Hits that has horse shows from California to New York, Chicago down to Florida, Arizona. They're the biggest one coast to
Wow.
coast in the country. And they hired me to head up their sponsorship for the country. And so at that point, that was another turn in the road. I left behind running my own farm and went full time doing that.
Okay, so how old are the kids and everybody at this time frame when you get the job with Hits?
My last two were twins. So I had twin 3-year-olds. I had let's say 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. So
Okay.
10, 6 and 3, 10 thereabouts. And I worked for Hits and I worked remotely. And then I would go up to the office in New York State a couple days a week, have a sitter, and then come back and do it all. And so I did that for 7 years and
Wow.
then left them. And Bob Bell from Gulf Coast Classic reached out to me and said, I think we need to talk. And he sent me a round trip ticket to meet him in Atlanta, first class. And I said, okay, I'll see you soon. And he picked me up and we talked for 2 days. And a lot of that day was spent him driving around running errands and me sitting in the car. And that's when I started working for Classic Company, aka also Gulf Coast Classic. And that was, I guess, January 2013 or December 2012, thereabouts.
It's a cool story, Lisa, about how everything kind of circled back to your passion and you picking up a skill set along the way to do what it is you're doing right now. You know, like if you hadn't have started basically your own equestrian event company, like it's everything kind of has happened for a reason in your life, it seems.
I feel the same way. I feel like, my passion, my childhood passion, I grew up with it. I love it. I still love going to the barn. I still love all of that. And then going to school and I mean, initially I wanted to go to law school. So I did a lot of contract classes, prepping myself for law school and actually got into law school, but then that was right before I got transferred to Chicago. So that's why I pivoted and decided to go to graduate school for my MBA. So I, but everything you're right. It all kind of fell together that, okay, I'm going to do corporate life, corporate work. Nah, it's not my thing, but I've got this education, I've got this experience, and now I'm going to pivot to my passion, which is horses, and then marry the two, my skills in marketing and getting the message through and understanding the event and putting together good connections between two, a non-equestrian brand like Allen Beverages and an equestrian event. How does that work? And finding commonalities and understanding ROIs and reporting metrics and getting the word out and following through and writing contracts. It all kind of came through and I wouldn't do it any other way. It was a big chance. Sure, there's a lot of stability working for corporate America.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's nice, but I was willing to say,
You got to
I
put
can,
up with a
I,
lot of other stuff too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't corporate America, in my opinion, not real ever really. I've only had one job, and it's been this. But corporate America doesn't allow you to be the person you actually are. You have to pretend to be someone when you're working for a company like that. You can't say what you want to say. You have to put up with what you have to put up with, and it kind of restricts you spiritually and emotionally. You're kind of like shoved in a box. And, yeah, you do have pension plans and you have, insurance and you have, 401k stuff. And if you play the game long enough, you can make out okay. But I think that if you're passionate about something and you make that your career, you're going to be successful. That was kind of what you were able to do.
That was completely what I did. So, and therefore, I'm really happy with how that all turned out, obviously, and I'm still doing this. And I used to, when I worked for the Hits Horse Show, I would literally have to ship my clothes to Florida because I was going to be gone for 3 months. And there'd be small times when I could fly home and see all my kids. And then as kids got older, I would meet them at the Orlando airport for a weekend with mom. But it was nonstop because I not only was I in Florida, I was flying over to California to manage those events as well at the same time. So it was a lot.
That's a
Uh,
lot, Lisa.
yeah, so working with a classic, Gulf Coast Classic is great. I'll come down once, twice, maybe for a few weekends for the during the winter. But mostly I can, that's such a great team. I can work remotely with that group. They're excellent feet on the ground people. So it allows me more time to be at home and, have more balance, I guess, in my life.
How old are the kids now, Lisa?
Well, now my eldest is 29. And my next son is 24. He'll be 25 this week. And my twins are 22, and they're both seniors in college.
Yeah, you're getting you're empty nesting.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I found out they're all moving home again in May. So
Good for you.
it'll be okay because now they're adults and I don't have to drive them everywhere. So this will be way
Exactly.
easier.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah.
easier.
Are
Way
they
easier.
into horses as well?
My eldest daughter, Tori, she's actually an athletic trainer for the Dartmouth football team, and she's been the athletic trainer for with the Falcons and a bunch of other football teams. And at one point, she was the athletic trainer for the equestrian team at Dartmouth. So
That's a
she was
really pretty area, that Dart. Well, I've stayed. My wife and I try to take the kids up to the New Hampshire, New England,
it's pretty.
Connecticut, Vermont area, probably like once a year.
It's
And we
beautiful.
stayed at a hotel right next to Dartmouth. It's a beautiful area.
It is. It's really pretty. So she's up there, but she's pivoting in her careers right now. So she's coming back and she'll be home in the spring. But it was funny when she was working with the equestrian team and, the athletic trainer, if they get injured, she's there to treat the injury. That's her goal. That's her job. So she was watching and they said, "Do you know how to ride?" And she said, "Yeah." And she hopped on and she was training with them. They're like, "Hey, you're pretty good." Here she's jumping the courses and having a great time. So that was kind of funny. But the other three, no, they don't ride. My twins got into competitive rowing, so they're
Got
rowers.
it.
And my other son he lives in Montana and he is a downhill skier. And it's just like triple black diamond, terrifying things that no mother wants to watch.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the event that comes to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I think that I'd like to try to showcase to the listener so we can kind of use it as a way to kind of get people to come out. So explain to me, how long have you guys been coming to this area of the world? And let's kind of talk the listener through what the event actually is.
Okay, this year marks our 28th year in Gulfport.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It was Gulf Coast Classic Company I mentioned earlier was founded in 1998. And it all happened because Janet McCarroll, who is the show coordinator there in Gulfport, sought out Bob Bell. Bob Bell is the president of Gulf Coast Classic, and he was in Atlanta and working a horse show or maybe running his own. And she came over and said, "I think you should go into partnership with me at this event in Mississippi." He said, "What?" She goes, "Here, I bought you a one-way ticket." So he was in Atlanta, and she said, when the show's over, I'm going to drive you to Gulfport. I want you to see this place, and then I got you a ticket. You can fly back to Atlanta. So just give me a couple days. So he always says if she hadn't bought that one-way ticket, we probably wouldn't have a Gulfport. And so he drove down there with her, and he fell in love with the area. He loved all the coastal businesses. He loved, the fact that you could go. There was entertainment. There's gaming. You're on the water. The restaurants were great. Everyone was so nice and lovely. He
Yes.
said. He said, but the Harrison County Fairgrounds back then, he said, we drove in, and the grass was kind of high, and there was one little barn, and there was a dirt ring. And he said, "Janet, we cannot run horse shows here." She goes, "Well, if you like it, we can make this happen." And that's how it all started. And the community really together. And Janet was, the feet on the grounds down there working with the county, got it together. And it's quite the facility now because
Yes, it's not what you just described nowadays.
no, not at all. It's impressive. You drive in and you've got this expansive, beautiful grass Grand Prix course on your right, which is amazing because grass to jump on. Okay, so this is okay, a little horse speak here. Most arenas in the country, big horse shows, most of the Grand Prix field, and Grand Prix field is where your largest prize money is going to be. That's your big jumper classes. It's usually textile footing. There's, some sort of footing, but not grass. It's
So, like,
very
are you talking about like
unique.
AstroTurf?
It's not AstroTurf. It'll be like a sand with different textiles in there, maybe rubber, or maybe
Got it. I see what you're
material.
saying.
There's
Yeah.
different footings they put in there, but they've created this sort of grass down there that really can stand up to it, and it's a more natural way for the horse to jump. Actually, it's better for them,
Yeah.
and that's one of the drawing points for competitors when they come to Mississippi. They love, love, love the grass field, and the horses love it. So that's the first thing you see on your right, and you'll see pavilions that are adjacent to the arena, so people can watch. There's warm up arenas, and you head down further, and then there's a vending area, and then there's a show office, and you keep going, and then you've got all the other arenas back there. There's like another 6 back there, and there's stabling and barns. There's camper locations, full hookups, so people rent campers, or sometimes they bring their own campers. A lot of time they bring their own, and those sell out. So it's quite this community there that
It's a
it's
village.
it is. You drive in, you're like, what is this? It's a village. You're right, but it's got 1,000 people there easily. So just who are there the whole time for 6 weeks. So yes, that's what you see. We run these shows, and the competition dates run from Tuesday through Sunday. The show starts this year on February 12th. So that is coming up in a couple days.
Yeah,
It
3 days.
February 12th, and it ends on March 22nd. There are show competition days. I would recommend Wednesday through Sunday be there. There's events going on Tuesday also, but we call those warm-up events. They're just kind of getting acclimated to the arenas. Monday is the day the horse show is closed. That's when everybody rests. But we never charge admission for
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up,
community.
Lisa, is that
We never charge admission.
the public
And
can come and view this anytime they want.
anytime they want. And on Sundays, people ask, I know on Facebook, a few people ask, when's the best day to go? Go Sunday if you can. In the afternoon, starting about 2 o'clock, that's when we have the Grand Prix. And so when you first pull into Harrison County Fairgrounds, you'll probably be directed immediately right. If you get there early enough, you can park ringside. So you can have a nice little tailgate right up against the arena, invite your friends, have food and drink there if you want. We do have food vendors on site as well. And you can watch all the action up close and personal. And it's super fun. And over the years, it's been really interesting. A lot of the community has developed favorites, we'll call them. So there's certain riders that come up from Texas, for instance, on week 3, I know for sure. And I'll see them out there, and they have signs printed up, cheering on their
Yeah, they're
riders. And
fans.
they're fans on the
Yeah.
side. And I know for a fact that when the riders are providing, after the presentation ceremony, they obviously get a bunch of awards in the middle of the Grand Prix field, and they get these beautiful long ribbons. I've seen more often than not, the riders will gallop along the side because they do a victory gallop, and they will hand their ribbons off to little kids with their hands outreached,
That's nice.
which is really nice. So the community is very involved with it. We encourage it. Again, we don't charge any admission fee at all. If you have a dog, please keep it on a leash, but dogs are welcome also. It's a really fun family time, and it's beautiful, and it's unique, and it's it's always when we are not weather contingent. We go rain or shine. The only time we will not compete out there is if it will take a pause, if it's lightning and thundering.
Yeah.
If rain is in the forecast, I recommend going online, to go to Facebook to the Gulf Coast Classic Company, and we'll put up a post there saying delayed Grand Prix start, so that, or maybe it's an earlier start. So we can get ahead of the weather.
Well, I will tell you, last year, I think it was last year, we went out and got to walk the grounds with you, and I brought my youngest daughter, who
Yeah,
is now, she's now actually learning how to ride Western.
right.
So into horses. She's a horse girl. So she's taking lessons once a week, and we're driving her up to kind of get started and learn. And she's on an old barrel riding horse named Larry.
Perfect.
And Larry is the safest horse that this woman has, and she's learning. She's learning a little bit, but she's liking it. And I think I'm probably going to bring her out there again this
I
year,
hope so.
just so she can. And what Lisa's describing is you're literally like you're 10 feet from these horses, and
Yes.
it's so interesting, and they're all so pretty, and it's something that you don't get to do all the time, and that you won't regret actually going out there and seeing this. So the events, Lisa, they run from the 12th through, what was it, March 23rd,
March 22nd. March
22nd.
22nd. Yep, that's a
Yep.
Sunday.
So I
Um,
mean, there's a block of time where you can go out and see this.
yes, absolutely. And again, it's always free. We highly recommend you come out, and you can grab your favorite Pepsi products down there in the vendor area, where that's what they're serving. And yeah, I mean, everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome, and it's a really family fun event.
It
And
is.
it's also fun for, like, if you have senior parents, get them out of the house, go do something. And this is easy. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I agree. It's something that, we do a lot of water stuff down here. I mean, it's whether it's going out on boats or fishing or, so this is something that you don't normally get to be around. The caliber of horses and riders is what kind of sets it apart, in my opinion. It's just there's not a whole lot of, especially English style, around here. So I think it's definitely worth a visit to come out to the Harrison County Fairgrounds and see it.
Yeah, I believe this event is the largest show jumping event in the state of Mississippi. So I highly recommend people check out what's in their backyard.
Absolutely, Lisa. Well, listen, I think I've kept you long enough. I really appreciate you getting on the podcast and telling me your story and just having a conversation. You're always easy to talk to, Lisa. I really appreciate your time.
And you are easy to talk to as well. So thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the shows. And we're looking forward to seeing the Allen Beverage team out at the show this year.
Yes, and before we go, I'd like to try to tell the listener if they want to find out about, like you said, they can go to the Facebook page to find out if there's any rainouts or anything. Where else can people go to find out more about the Gulf Coast Classic?
You can go to our website. The website is www.gulf, Gulf Coast Classic Company. So you're going to have ClassicCompany all together.com. You go to that website, and if you want to know what's going on, you can scroll to the bottom of the page for schedules, and it's got the schedule. It says tentative, but it's pretty permanent. Tentative schedule week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see what's going on. Of course, come on out for the Allen Beverages Grand Prix. That will be a really fun time.
Yes.
And I'm pulling it up here. You are week 3. Allen Beverages is sponsor of the $30,000 Grand Prix. So week 3, we're going into week 1. So that's going to be
Gonna be like the 23rd.
Yeah, the show runs February 12th through March 22nd, and the Allen Beverages Grand Prix will be on Sunday, March 1st, and we'd love to see everybody out there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Bottled Up. A huge shout out to Lisa Engel for coming on and sharing her incredible journey. From growing up on a farm and dealing with that one evil pony to running some of the biggest horse shows around. What a ride she's had. Her story really drives home how following your passion, even when it starts in the most unexpected way, can lead you to places you've never imagined. And it's great to see that the Gulf Coast Classic horse shows are bringing top level talent and genuine fun right here in Mississippi. These are free, family friendly events that welcome everyone, whether you're a seasoned fan or just curious about the world of show jumping. If you're in the area round up the crew and head over to the Harrison County Fairgrounds. The Gulf Coast Classic runs from February 12th through March 22nd, and the Allen Beverages Grand Prix is definitely worth catching for all the excitement. Trust me, it's a blast. For Bottled Up, I'm Andrew Allen. Thanks for listening. And until next time, remember to always support our local businesses, restaurants, events, and attractions. Cheers. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up Podcast. Want us to deliver this show to your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or do you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast business or restaurant that you'd like for us to spotlight in any upcoming episodes? Email Morgan Wheeler at mwheeler, MWHEELER at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.